In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you 11 ways on how I avoid micromanaging and how you can do it as well to elevate your leadership to new levels. Did you know that at least 59% of employees have worked with a micromanager? 68% said that the experience decreased their morale, while 55% said that it harmed their productivity. And dealing with the micromanaging boss is one of the top 3 reasons why people quit. If you're wondering what are the signs of somebody being a micromanager, you can check out this following video over here. If you haven't met yet, hey, I'm Blaj. I've been leading teams since I was 18, and now I'm helping people on their leadership journey to reach their full leadership potential. The first step that I always do without fail is that I trust my team. I trust them from day one. What I will also do is earn my team's trust. I know that they won't trust me from the beginning, but I will make sure that through my actions, my team is going to start trusting me. It's going to take weeks, if not months, for my team to fully trust me. I understand that that's going to take time. Now, trust is the easiest one to start with, but it's the hardest one to implement in the long term because trust builds momentum. It builds from day 1 to day 2 to week 1 to week 2. But trust can also be lost within a second. With one big leadership mistake, I can actually lose the whole trust that I've built with my team. And if I lose it, I'm never going to get the trust back, at least not to the levels that I want to. When I was in the military, I actually lost the trust of my team within one sentence, within 5 seconds. I wanted to say something completely different, but the way the sentence came out was that I didn't trust my team and that I didn't care about my team. Those last 3 months of me being with that team were hellish, completely unproductive, and pretty much nobody trusted me. The second step that I do is I set up a check-in policy. So in the majority of my teams, what I do is I set up regular weekly meetings. So one-on-ones and team meetings with every single one of my team members. And this is where the majority of my check-ins actually occur. I also make sure that I tell my team that I don't need to be CC'd in every email. I don't need to be involved in every correspondence because I do trust them. Step number 1. I will trust that each member of my team knows what they're doing, and if they don't, they're actually going to ask me about this. They're grown-ups, they know what they're doing. I support and I push them that they have their own internal channels where they can communicate freely without me being bothered. What I've explained just now is the general way that I set up my check-in policy. There are always going to be exceptions to this policy and these rules that I have here. These are just the general ones because every team is different. Every team dynamics is different. If we have a specific project, I may actually have a check-in policy of every day or every other day, depending on what the milestones are, depending on how critical the project is or how critical the situation is. I may check up with the team once every day or with that team member once every day, maybe once every couple of hours, every 3 hours, depending on the criticality and the importance of that project, that task, and everything else that comes behind it. What I will make sure is that my check-in policy doesn't interfere with my team's work, that it doesn't bother them so much that they can actually complete their work. So step 3 is that I empower my team. I will make sure that I delegate the tasks that our team has to do to each and every single individual. And then I will make sure and I will empower them so that they can do them themselves. The way I help them is that I train, mentor, and coach them how to overcome the issue, how to overcome the challenge, how to overcome that gridlock that they're facing in a task or in a project. What I'm definitely not going to do is to take over the task, that project, just because my team member got stuck. Because that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help my team member grow. That doesn't help me because I'm going to be micromanaging and I'm going to be actually doing more work than I need to or that I even want to. So continuing on to step number 4, and this is where we're building from step number 1, 2, 3 to step number 4, which is I ensure that me and my team always learn from our mistakes. I encourage that because I know mistakes will happen and they'll happen often. I make mistakes every day, every week, and every month. If me and my team are not making any mistakes, I'm actually going to be worried because of the following 3 things. So the first thing is that people will be afraid to make mistakes. So they're just going to play it safe. They're not going to be pushing themselves to grow, to develop themselves, and to think out of the box and or making sure that they do their best work in the project. They're just going to be doing things that they know that work. And as a result, the team is actually going to be underperforming. The second thing is that they're going to be trying to cover their mistakes and blame others. This happens so often with low trusting environments where there's no psychological safety. People just make sure that they try and cover their mistakes and then blame others as much as they can, which leads us to the third part is that there's no trust and no safety. You can actually check my video over here of the 5 leadership steps that I take after myself or my team fails. After a mistake happens, step number 6 that I'm going to do is I'm going to embrace uncertainty. As a leader and as a manager, I'm always going to have uncertainty. I'm always going to be uncertain about some things. Uncertainty never goes away. What I can do is I learn how to quiet it down. And the way I do this is I always reflect. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? As I grow and develop as a leader, as I gain more experience, some of the uncertainty is actually going to go completely away because I've been in such situations several times and I know what I'm doing. I'm getting better at it. So some of the uncertainty is going to go away, but it's never going to completely go away. And I just make sure that I'm psychologically prepared for that it's always going to be there, that it may actually burst out being really strong, that I'm uncertain. I don't know what to do. Step number 7 that I do is I don't focus on perfection. And this is one of the hardest things that I can do. So the way I implement this is that I always tell myself and my team that 60% of now is better than 100% of never. I know that we're never going to get to 100% perfection. It's not possible, not in a business environment. And what I'm also going to do is that I'm going to aim for 80% of perfection. 80% is my new 100%. I'm going to ensure that my team knows that and that they understand that. I don't want everything to be perfect. I don't want them to postpone a project, postpone a task, just because something isn't completely correct, just because something isn't right. 80% is better than 100% because we're never going to get to 100%. So I've been in operations for most of my life. And when I was a production director, as well as the head of operations and then the regional director of operations for a food delivery company, our goal was always to have 80% utilization. We never wanted to go to 90% or 100% of utilization. And that includes machines, that includes our delivery drivers, because anything above 80% actually ends up costing you exponentially more than just sticking to an 80% capacity. So I always have these two rules. 60% is better than 100%, and 80% is just as good as 100%. And when I don't focus on perfection, I move on to step number 8 is that I focus on outcomes. So both myself and my team, we all have KPIs and our goals for the week, the month, the quarter, or the year. And what I do is I focus whether those goals are actually met. I'm not going to be focusing on how my team actually achieved those goals. Now, with 2 caveats, they need to be morally and legally right. So when it comes to being morally and legally right, I don't want my team to lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. That's a no-no. And that's a deal breaker for my team. And if anyone from my team actually does that, they've lost my trust and they're going to be fired or removed somewhere else. They're definitely not going to be on my team anymore. And I make sure that they know that. We always need to be on the moral high ground and we need it to be legal. We cannot do something illegal just because we want to achieve a goal that we set that may not even be that important or that is just some arbitrary goal that our management set. I don't allow this. I'd rather my team and I fail our objectives and our goals than actually to compromise any one of my team members morally and legally. That's a big red line for me that I don't cross. And yes, I've been fired from one of my jobs because of that. Continuing on to step number 9 is that I set clear goals and expectations. My team should know what their goals are, what their KPIs are, and what their objectives are. They need to know what they have to achieve and by what time they need to achieve it. Just having ambiguous goals is a recipe for disaster because no one's going to know what's happening. I'm not going to know what's happening and my team members are not going to know what's happening. What that will do is it's actually going to lead to breaking of trust. There's not going to be a safe environment and there's just going to be all around chaos. Hey, this was supposed to be due today. I want it today. Well, the team member doesn't know anything because I've never set a clear expectation and a clear goal and deadline. Well, I really want you to do this today because it's super important, it's critical. And then what usually ends up happening is that team member either gets a nervous breakdown, tells you to F off or something like that, or they have to work overtime. They will actually do it because they're probably going to be scared, but that trust is going to be eroded. That psychological safety is going to be eroded. Every previous step that I was building on with my team is going to erode because of some stupidity that I couldn't provide my team with clear goals, expectations, and timelines. So step number 10 that I do is I ask for feedback. I ask for feedback from my boss, my peers, and also my team members. It is one of the best ways for me to learn and grow, both personally and professionally. One of the things that I'm also really careful about is who I actually ask for feedback. I'm gonna ask for feedback of the people I trust, that I know that have my best intentions at heart and that they really want to help me. And that's the feedback that I'm really gonna value. So last step number 11, is that I develop myself and everybody around me. Developing myself and others doesn't need to be just professional. It can also be personal development. I honestly don't care what kind of development my team is doing. I just want them to get into that action of making sure that they develop themselves every day. Whether it's personally, professionally, I really don't care. As long as they have a goal, as long as they have a plan on how to develop themselves, I'm really happy. What I also really want to make sure is that they can see that I want them to succeed. Even though that development is just personal and it doesn't help me or my team at all on what they've been developing themselves. I'm just happy that they're doing the development. So one of the best side effects of this is that when people see that you develop others, everybody is going to be just more attracted to me. They will want to work with me. They will want to work on my team. I'm legitimately going to be having a buffet of candidates that want to come to my team because they're going to see how much my team members are actually developing themselves, how much they're thriving, how much they are the best versions of themselves. So all of the above are the reasons why I'm going to have a development plan for each and every single one of my team members. That's non-negotiable. That is going to happen. Making sure that I don't micromanage my team takes a lot of time and effort. It's a long game. It's not a short game. And I have to keep doing it over and over again, every day, every week, every month. In the end, I know it's going to be worth it because I'm going to be getting a team of rock stars under me. And as a result, I'm going to become a rock star. In the end, this is going to give all of us the best opportunity to achieve all of our dreams and goals. And if you've stuck with me for this long, you're definitely going to like one of the videos over here.